Hi guys, welcome. Today we're going to do our dragon eye rock painting. Okay, so in your box you have a rock, you have a paintbrush, and you have your paints and a toothpick. And so there's a few things you're going to have to gather from your house. You're going to need some paper towel to wash and dry your paintbrush on. You're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil and a cup of water. And then also you're going to need a palette, okay? And for the palette you can use I have a piece of it's like wax paper. You can use wax paper, you can use paper plates, you can use a ceramic dish from the kitchen. It's acrylic paint, so it's really easy to wash off. So grab something to do to mix your paint on, all right? And then we will get started. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take your pencil and we're going to make a circle on the rock. Okay, and that's going to be our eyeball, all right? And rocks, you'll find out, are not that easy to draw or paint on, but they'll look cool. So what I do is I just take my rock and I turn it around, keep turning it, and make a circle that way, all right? It doesn't have to, it's just giving us an outline to know where to put the white paint, all right? So, pretty big size. I would say that's bigger than a quarter. Maybe an inch across, maybe a little more than that. Okay, so make a nice big circle for your white paint. Okay, and then open up your paints. Of course, you have your green, your gold, your white, and your black. And we're going to take our paintbrush and we're going to take the white paint and just paint the circle in, all right? So make a nice big white circle here. And so you'll see that when you're painting on rocks, what you have to do is you kind of have to dab it a little bit. Okay, push it in those, like my rock is pretty textured, so I kind of have to push it into the little divots or the little where the rock goes in like that, okay? All right, and make it nice and smooth, and just take your time, turn your rock around so you can do each side. I just think it's easier to turn the rock, then you can paint your circle that way, okay? Also, you want to make it nice and smooth, so if you have a lot of globby paint on there like this, you want to take your paintbrush and make it nice and smooth, okay? Smooth it out. Even if you have to get rid of some of this excess of paint, you can just wipe it on your paper towel, or you can just wipe it, just take it off of the paintbrush and then go back and make it nice and smooth, okay? So once you have the white done, you're going to set that aside and just let it dry it's going to take a few minutes to dry. And while it's drying, you're going to want to wash out your paintbrush. Okay, and dry it. Then we're going to grab your paper and pencil, and we are going to practice drawing some eyes for our dragon, okay? So as with all eyes, you're going to start with a round circle, okay? Like the white that we just did. I'm going to draw a couple different ideas here for you. But have fun, while your white is drying. Here in the studio, we would just take a hairdryer probably and dry that, but you guys can pause the video and let it dry, or just practice drawing while it's drying. Okay, so there's a couple ways you can do the inside, the pupil. You can do kind of a pointed, rounded triangle shape, okay? Or you can make it look more like a snake eye and do like a little bit of a sliver, okay? And that's going to be painted black, all right? All right, and then when we go in with the paint, we're going to draw an almond shape for the eye, but we're going to start over here with the eye, and we're going to catch the bottom of this and make kind of a go up like this. But when we draw it up this way, we're going to cut some of this eyeball off, okay, to make it a little bit more like an almond shape. And then when we're painting, we're just going to paint over that. But if you want to erase it and then do a eyelid, and then down here you're going to make an eyelid, okay. And then to draw like the scale shapes, it's kind of a square but kind of a rounded square, or a rounded kind of a cube looking shape. So draw those. Hopefully you can see all this here. And then draw some down here. Just kind of fun to practice. And as far as I know, dragons aren't, real. They're made up. So you can draw your dragon eye however you want. All right. And then when you come up here, if you want to have the shape go more like a flame or a flower petal, kind of a teardrop, maybe more like a flower petal, I would say. You draw that shape up here, and each time you go up, you're just going to make this bigger. All right. And then same goes down for down here, just make them bigger when you come down here, okay? So just kind of practice. This is what this time is for, and I'm going to move on and show you something else here. Maybe a different way to draw it. Let's say if you want to draw it a little fancier, you can take your eyeball down here and make it go, oops, kind of up like this maybe. All kinds of shapes. You can make it go down, you can make it both go up, both sides go up, however you want your eyeball to look, okay? But this is kind of fun too. And perhaps with these up here, after you make these little squares, rounded squares, put all these little scales on here, and maybe another little layer. After you do that, you're going to do them down here, say, and then you're going to maybe you want them to look more like eyelashes. Okay, which is kind of fun. All right, so you guys practice, and I have another rock here that I put the white on because mine's dry now, and we'll get started with the mixing. But another thing I wanted to tell you was, right away you want to decide if you want to just make an eyeball or a dragon eye, or if you want to make it look like it's coming out of the rock, like if the rock was cracked and the eyes shone through. If you want to do that with these little cracks in the rock, you're going to have to do, right away you'll want to draw this kind of a shape around it, like a broken shape. Whoops. Because then you're going to take the scales and draw up to the edges. Okay? And I'll show you that when I do mine. And then you'll have like these cracked. I'll show you how to do that, but it's just easy. It's like making little Ys, little lightning bolts, or okay? All right, so now you're going to want to mix some of your paint, okay? And so like I said, you have your green, your white, your black, and your gold, and a paintbrush. So what you want to do is you want to take some of the paint, take some of the green paint. We're going to make some tints, some lighter greens, and we're going to make some darker greens, okay? So put a little blob of green there and here, and we're going to mix the different shades down here, okay? So take a little bit of green, wash your brush out, and take some of the white there. And then take some of the black. Okay. Always rinse your paintbrush out real nice. All right. So then we're going to take the green, and we're going to be using this green, so we're going to leave some of that, and there's more in there. And we're going to take it and make it a little lighter color, okay? So just take a little bit of the green and take some of the white and make a light green, all right? So you can see this here. We want it pretty light so that it looks real nice and shiny, okay? So there's that. Then we're going to take out some of the green and we're going to make a little bit of black with it. Okay. That way you have like 3 different kinds of green. You'll have a real light green, you'll have the green right out of the tube, and then you'll have your darker green, okay? And you can even make, we can even make this a little darker at the outer edges of the iris, okay? So take your time, do that. And while we're doing this, you might have to mix up some more paint because acrylic paint dries real fast, but you can make your piles a little bit bigger than mine if you want, all right? So then we're going to rinse again. What we're going to do is we're going to start with our lightest color in the middle of the eyeball here. Okay, so you're going to take your light green, okay, and just paint your rock light green like this. Okay, then you're going to take your the green that we make that's right out of the tube. Kind of put that on this side. And then what you want to do is you want to dry your brush off, okay? It's kind of like dry brushing. You want to dry your brush off a little bit and kind of blend these. Okay. See how that blends it? Okay. Just blend it out like that. Then take your the other green, the next darkest green, put that around there. Okay, dry your brush and blend that in. Okay, then your darkest green, you're going to put on the outside here. Okay. And again, you're going to take your brush and take the paint off like that. So you guys can see what I'm doing here. To make it a dry brush, you take your paintbrush and you just dry it on your paper towel. Okay, then just kind of tap it. That kind of just blends it in nicely. Okay, so you have light green, the lightest to the darkest, like that. All right, I think it looks pretty good. If you feel like you want a little more white, a little bit brighter colors, you can just add some paint like that. All right, so then we're gonna let that dry a little bit. Wash out your paintbrush. And then we're going to decide, you're going to decide how you want your pupil, if you want it, what shape you want it, okay? You can take your pencil, let this dry for a few minutes, and then if you want to take your pencil and draw on there, you can, or you can just take your paintbrush. And if you start small, then you can keep adding, whereas if you go too big, it's harder, you're going to have to repaint. But I would just go small first, okay? what I mean is just make a small line of paint. I'll show you. I'm going to take my black, and let's say if I make it, I want it to come almost all the way down. If I make like a little line first, okay, then I can go in and say, okay, that's where I want it. I want it to look like down here. That's kind of cool looking like that, but I'm going to add a little bit on this side and on this side. Sometimes you might have to turn your rock around too, okay? To pick it up and hold it, or however you have to get that drawn on there, alright? Alright, so you got that on there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our black paint and we're going to make the eyeball. And you guys can draw this on if you want to draw first with your pencil. Feel free to say, well, I'm going to have it over here and I want it to come out this way. And then this actually we're going to cover up some of this. Okay. Depending on how big you want your eyeball. Okay. Then you're going to take your black paint and you're going to go around that shape here. Do not have the best paintbrushes in town. Alright. So got that like that. Let that dry a minute. While that's drying, why don't you take your gray, your black, and put a little bit of white in there to make kind of a nice dark gray. And again, you guys can paint your, you can paint it however you want, your colors. Like let's say you have purple at home or red or blue. You don't have to go with the green I gave you, but that's what you have. You know, you can do whatever color you want, alright? And so this inside of the eyeball, we're going to put some of this gray paint. And again, I just my rocks are kind of really textured, okay? So I just kind of have to dab it in there. I also want to tell you just to use, don't use so much paint. Use a little bit of paint and then you can always go back and put more where that's a little bit easier to do than to have too much paint all over, okay? So put the gray in there. And then we're going to take some black and outline the rest of the eye. Okay. So you can outline the eye like this around the green. It gives us some definition. All right. Then, if you have to make some more of this green, mix some more green up, you can. We're going to come up here. Maybe I'll draw a line, a little bit of a line to show you kind of where to put them. Kind of draw a line. with the black so you know where to put your scales. All right. So you can take some of the dark green. And we're going to make just kind of blobs. Because what we're going to do is we're going to go back around them with some black, okay? I can tell I'm going to need some more paint mixed up. So just mix some more paint up when you need some more paint. So I'm just making little blobs of paint. That's where the scales are going to be, because I'm going to take my black and I'm going to go around them, kind of outlining. Okay, and then we'll do the gold too. But see, I just put little splotches of black, and then green, and then went back. All right. So do your green first. Okay. And do some bigger ones down here. Oops, a lot of dirt right there. Okay. Then I'll add some more in a minute, but what you can do is you can put a little bit of this lighter color to kind of give it a little bit of a highlight. Okay. Maybe that's too late. Let's use this one. Give it a little highlight. First, you guys take your time and, take as long as you want. If you want to pause the video and just spend a lot of time on this part, painting, you can. Okay, I'm just kind of going through it a little bit fast. Alright, so after you paint more green, and paint some, I suppose you could paint the whole thing green and then just go over it with black. But this way it kind of gives you an idea where you're going to go with the black paint, okay? Alright. Rinse it out again. This time, we'll take our black paint and outline all these guys, alright? Ideally, you're going to want to have this dry a little bit. Okay. I didn't want to pause the video, but I just want to keep painting. But you guys pause the video and let your paints dry in between. That would be the ideal way to do it, okay? painting. It's getting there. All right. So it's starting to look like a dragon eye, huh? Kind of. Getting there. All right. You can also decide where you're going to put this. You're going to stick it outside, kind of in your rocks. Kind of put some rocks around it, like in this one's hiding there. You can use it as a like a doorstop or a paperweight on your desk. I don't know, just kind of fun to have around, right? And then, so after you do that, I'm going to put a little more green. I'll make it a little more green here. I'm going to fill in these. Okay, so if you're not going to put the cracks on, this rock is a little bit small. If you're going to do the cracks, you'll just keep making the scales, all right? But if you want to do the cracks, what you want to do is you want to stop right here, take some of your black paint, okay, and make some lines like this, like it's cracking. Okay, and then these little lines to make it look like, let me show you, these lines right here, you just make like capital Y's, okay? So what you do is you make a little line and then make a kind of a Y and another, like when we were doing tree branches. Okay. You can do that all around the top too. Okay, and just keep doing that. All right, then a couple more things we want to do. We want to add some gold. If you want to add gold, I think it looks kind of cool, like a dragon. You can add gold around each scale. You can add it around the pupil. I think I'll just put it around a little bit of everything here. Okay, so you can outline it. You can outline the whole dragon eye. Just take your time. And just keep turning your rock if you have to, okay? Of course, yours also, if you have time, let it dry, okay? Okay, and then we're going to put a little bit of gold around the edge here. Okay, and then you can put gold around each scale if you'd like. the gold, actually when it dries it looks, it shines more like it dries like a more gold color. Right now it's not as, it looks kind of transparent, I guess. Okay, so you guys do all your gold. And if you want to go back and do some of more of the black, you can too. All right. So couple more things we need to do, and then we'll be done. All right, is we're going to take our toothpick. All right, and you're going to put some lines in here. Now I'm going to just use, you can use dark green if you want, or you can use your black. Okay, just put some. So how we're going to do this is we're going to just go in, and same thing, draw like little veins, okay? Show you. Hopefully you can see this. Just come from the outside and make little veins. Like that. Kind of adds to it a little bit, doesn't it? And those again would look kind of like little Y's also. All right, and then what will bring it really to life is if you put some white, the reflective light spots that you put on the eyes. So put some white paint on your paintbrush, and you're going to want to put a couple different spots, all right? Again, mine's not dry, so let your guys' paint dry, and go in there and put a little light, like a spot there, and drag it. Okay, and then maybe a line down here, maybe just a little line, and then make sure you have enough paint. Put a little, also you want to do the eyeball is rounded, so kind of make it round, okay, not just straight. So down over here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a little bit of a here, maybe another little line, and then right here in the pupil we're going to put some white. Okay, I'm going to paint and then I'll show you. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let me see, maybe we'll put a little reflective dot right here too. Okay, and then you guys would finish all this. If you wanted it to go all the way through the rock, you would take your time, paint it all with the scales, okay, and then go around it with the black. But that's pretty much done. So when you come back, and if you want to use some of my spray to make it a little bit shiny, you can. You can put just maybe some Mod Podge on it. Or just leave it like this too, if you're going to stick it outside, okay? I mean, if you're going to stick it outside, I would spray it with some kind of spray. And I'll have some available too when we trade boxes, okay? All right, well, thanks, and we will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.